Welcome to another episode of Winsley's Writing Workshop. Today, we are focusing on improving your writing through developing good and proper sentence structure. So, what does that mean? Essentially, it means by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to write a variety of different sentences, which ultimately will increase your swagger, aka your style, in your writing. So, the first thing you need to know is that writers can choose from a wide variety of sentence structures. That's where you take subjects, pronouns, nouns, verbs, you put them together in a variety of different ways. By having better sentence variety in your writing, you're then able to have more engaging, thought provoking sentences that will hook, entice, and engage your reader. So, some things you need to understand. Number one, a compound sentence is formed by joining two simple sentences with a conjunction, and we're going to get into that. There also are called complex and compound complex sentences that use conjunctions to combine those clauses, and we're going to talk about that. Now, different sentences structures serve different purposes. So depending on what you want to say, you want to use a specific type of sentence. Now, 90% of your writing right now is complex sentences, but we want to begin to have more of a variety. So you have a mixture of simple, compound, complex, and even compound complex. And the last thing you need to know that the sentence structure affects the flow of a text. When you're properly using sentences correctly, your words and your writing will flow more, and you won't have many of those, huh? What do you mean moments that sometimes you may have when individuals read your writing. So let's first start at something simple. Let's talk about the simple sentence. So a simple sentence is literally a sentence that has a subject and it has a predicate. That means it has the subject, which is the noun, or sometimes it could be a pronoun, and it has the verb plus a complete thought attached to it. So right here, the dog ate my ice cream. The dog is the subject of the sentence. It's what is doing the action. Ate my ice cream cone is the predicate. So remember, the predicate is simply the part of the sentence that says what the subject is or does. So in a simple sentence, you have a one subject and one predicate. Now remember, the predicate is the part of the sentence that says what the subject does. So it has a verb and then it has additional information. Now, sometimes you don't need that additional information for a simple sentence to still make a complete thought. The dog ate. That's my subject. What did the dog do? Ate. My ice cream cone is that additional information to let you know what the dog ate. Let's look at this sentence. Nice young man. Archie, that's my subject. What did Archie do? He ordered. That's my verb. A tuxedo on the internet is the predicate. Now, let's talk about a compound sentence. So a compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences joined with a coordinating conjunction. You're like, what? A coordinating conjunction, aka a fanboy. So let's quickly review the fanboys. So the first fanboy or coordinating conjunction is for. For is the problem solver. It connects a solution with a problem. And is the matchmaker. And is the one of the top three that you typically use. So it connects two ideas that go together. So they're two same ideas. I love shopping and eating out. Nor is Mr. Negative. Nor is the negative form of or. You just put an N in front of it. But we like to call king conflict because it's going to connect two ideas that go against each other. I don't like Sammy G's, but I'll go because my family is eating. Or is the great decision maker. So it connects two choices. You can have ice cream or you can have cake. You got to make a decision. Yet is But's evil twin brother. So it does the exact same thing that But does. It's just a different way you can say it. And finally, the S, so the problem solver. That is where you connect a problem with a result. I'm really tired today, so I am going home early. So let's look at this compound sentence. So if you notice, we have Manuel bought two turtles. That's a great simple sentence. It has a subject, Manuel, and then it has my predicate, bought two turtles. David named them Cuff and Link. This is my second simple sentence. Now, if I was writing a paragraph, I could completely write it where I end up with two sentences, or I could show some variety and combine them. And when I do, I always have a comma after the first sentence, and then I use my coordinating conjunction. In this case, and. And remember, and is the great connector, the matchmaker. All right, let's look at this sentence. The band took a break from practicing. That's my first sentence. The house was finally quiet. That is my second sentence. If you remember, so is the result or problem solver conjunction. The band took a break from practicing, comma, so the house was finally quiet. My first simple sentence and my second simple sentence. So let's test your knowledge of simple and compound sentences. So go ahead and look at the 4 questions, write them in your notes, pause me, and then when we come back, we'll see if your answers are correct. Check your answers. Did you get them all right? If you did, you're doing a great job. Let's keep going. The next 2 sentences that we're going to talk about are complex and compound complex sentences. They also use conjunctions to combine clauses, but they use a different set. So here's another thing to know, very important point. Compound sentences only use our 7 conjunctions. When you join 2 simple sentences together, you will only join them with these 7 conjunctions, aka the fanboys. Complex sentences is made up of 2 simple sentences that have a dependent clause or conjunction. For example, so a subordinated conjunction is a conjunction that connects unequal elements and indicates the relationship between 2 parts. So you've used them all the while. Words like when, because, after, as soon as, even though. However, you've used them all the time. Now you're just knowing what they're at, what the actual type of sentence is called. So right here, one thing you should know is that sometimes with complex sentences, the dependent clause or the conjunction comes first. When it does, a comma is put after that clause, and then the independent clause comes after. Or you have another way where you can write it is where you put the independent clause first, and then the dependent clause, and then therefore there's no comma. So let's look at some examples. After, remember that's a type of conjunction. We left the show. We left the show is the dependent clause or the incomplete thought. So after we left the show, it makes me want to know more information. And that's the entire purpose of a dependent clause. We went to the diner for some healthy fruit smoothies. That's my independent clause or my complete thought. So after we left the show is my incomplete thought. We went to the diner for some healthy fruit smoothies is my complete thought. And notice when I start with incomplete, I have to have a comma. Let's look at the second sample. You should go to the bus stop. That sounds like a complete thought. You is my subject, should go is my verb, should go to the bus stop is my predicate. Because your bus is arriving soon. This is my incomplete thought. Because if I were to say, because your bus is arriving soon, it sounds like it needs more information. So let's look at this. Which part of the following sentence is the dependent clause? Go ahead and pause me and answer the question. Great job if you answered whenever I watch movies with subtitles. That is your incomplete thought or your dependent clause. And it starts with a very popular subordinating or incomplete conjunction. Whenever I get very sleepy is my complete thought. The last type of sentence is a compound complex sentence. So it's a sentence that's literally made up of both sentence types, a compound sentence and a complex sentence. So essentially, a compound complex sentence has one full complete compound sentence and then a incomplete thought, aka dependent clause. So let's look at this sentence. So when I go to bed at night, that's clearly my incomplete thought or my dependent clause. I always put on a CD of frogs croaking, comma, and I usually fall asleep within a few minutes. So this right here is my compound sentence. This is my first independent clause, complete thought. This is my second independent clause, complete thought. And then I join those two complete thoughts with one of my fanboys, and because I'm joining two ideas together. So this is one way to write it where you have the incomplete thought first. As always, you can always put the complete thoughts first and then end with your incomplete thoughts. For example, Aziz decided to go to the movies. That's my first independent clause or complete thought. He got his usual small popcorn. That's my second independent clause or complete thought. I join it with and. Remember, and is probably and or and but are going to be your three popular fanboys. And then I have my incomplete thought before he found a seat. In the passage below, what is the compound complex sentence? So this sentence right here, I don't see I don't see one of my incomplete conjunctions in this sentence. This looks like a compound sentence. Uh-oh. Before, I know that's one of my incomplete thought conjunctions. Before they even got on the highway, comma, the problems began. Oh, but that's a complex sentence. Glenn didn't have a driver's license, comma, and Frida didn't have a dime to her name since. Since is one of my incomplete conjunctions that start a dependent clause. So this has to be my compound complex sentence. So let's talk about the purposes of each sentence structure. A simple sentence, so please make sure you recreate this chart in your notes. So a simple sentence, its sole purpose is making direct statements. I am hungry. Aaron Ralston is the ultimate survivor. Gilgamesh is the ultimate hero. I'm making direct statements. I want to be clear, direct, and to the point. I want to use a compound sentence when my ideas are equal in importance. And now equal doesn't mean same, but they're just equal. I have no money, comma, and I want to eat a sandwich. Or I have no money, comma, but I want to eat a sandwich. So when you want to talk about ideas that are equal, you use a compound sentence. When you want to talk about direct statements, you use a simple sentence. Complex sentences come in when ideas are not equal, hence the unbalance of complete thought combined with an incomplete thought. So one thought is more important than the other. If I am hungry, if is another dependent conjunction, comma, I get upset easily, or I get upset easily if I am hungry. And the last sentence type, compound complex, is when you combine equal ideas that also include elements that are unequal, compound complex. For example, if I am hungry and I have no money, comma, I get upset easily. So let's see how it is in action. So we have to place emphasis on one idea, to make a direct statement, to present two equally important ideas. Eric enjoys playing baseball but prefers soccer. Hmm, maybe right here. Eric and Marlon have always been best friends. Eric and Marlon are my subject. Have always been is my verb. Have always been best friends is my predicate. It's a direct statement. Whenever Marlon is sad, comma, Eric makes him feel better. I'm placing the emphasis on one idea. Very good. So the last thing we want to talk about is how sentence structure affects the flow of a text. So take notes of places where it doesn't flow as well as it could, and then consider how you might fix the writing. So automatically, I often thought about working outdoors. That's a good direct statement. Typically, topic sentences when you write are always going to be simple sentences because they're direct statements. I never thought I'd get a job at the city dump. Now, what you could do is you could combine these two sentences with the conjunction but once again, that changes the flow. I certainly didn't imagine it would be my dream job. Let me tell you about my best day ever. So these are literally 5 simple sentences. And the object is to take some of those simple sentences and combine them in a way that enhances the flow and the variety. Because if you're reading this, you're going to get a little bored reading simple sentence, simple sentence, simple sentence, simple sentence. So let's model it. Use conjunctions to revise the following passage for more variety and better overall flow. Include at least one coordinating conjunction, fanboy, and one subordinated conjunction in your revision. Janiyah has twin brothers named Jim and Tim. They used to do everything together. They were in every photo together. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to keep this because I like my topic sentence to be a direct statement. Then I want to combine these two sentences. They used to do everything together, comma, and were in every photo together. They always wore the same clothes and ate the same food. That could be another simple sentence. Then everything changed. Allison moved to town. So I could say everything, and I could say then everything changed, comma, when Allison moved to town. The boys were so alike. Both boys fell in love with her instantly. The boys were so alike, comma, so, and I take out both boys and plug in a pronoun. They fell in love with her instantly. To complicate matters, Janiyah and Allison became best friends. Allison was always around. Two sentences I know I can join together. To complicate matters, Janiyah and Allison became best friends, comma, so Allison was always around. So you see, I've taken all these different simple sentences and I have converted them so that they so that they have more flow. And my sentence, and I have a little bit of style. I don't sound like I am just spouting off sentences that I wrote in the 7th and 8th grade. I actually sound formal and academic and highly intelligent. I sound like I am a high school student. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your sentence structure workbook and your building swagger sentences presentation, and you're going to work on some sentences of your own. Talk to you later.